Hi there. Oh my gosh. I've got some awesome filter on me. I didn't mean to put that there. Oh boy. Isn't that fun? Maybe I'll keep it here. No, I can't stand to have it all covered. Super fun. Anyway, I'm here today to talk about parenting stuff, which it's been a long time since I've done this, but this is my background is in early childhood development. I was a Montessori teacher for a decade, and last wrote about what I'm going to write about today in I think it was like 2010. So I'm going to talk about family meetings. And this has been something that we've been doing in my family now for 11 years. And it's been one of the best decisions that we've made. And one of really the only, I'm not a big tradition person, but one of the only traditions that we have really carried through because it's been so helpful. Now, obviously, when I started a family meeting, 11 years ago, I had might not be obvious to you, but I had a 2-year-old at that point. I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so that might seem really easy, a really odd time for having a family meeting with such young kids. But I knew at that point that it was going to be like a placeholder, like a habit that we were creating that was going to serve us moving forward. And boy, has it. So let's just talk about first what a family meeting is or what it means for us. So a family meeting can be a one-time event or it can be a regular routine. And ours is weekly. It's a regular routine. It's great for communicating logistical issues, for working through behavioral issues, parenting themes, a specific problem. Like I think at different phases for kids, it can serve many, many different purposes and different things that are happening in the family. And I'll talk about what some of those are so that you can really like plug into this if you're feeling like you need it. I mean, this is a funny time for talking about how to connect with each other, but I think as like on top of each other as we all are right now and in very close space with one another, we can still be quite disconnected and distracted. So I think it's useful, especially I find with teens, it's useful to come together really intentionally. I think it creates a meaningful container and space where people know that they can that they will have their opinions, experiences heard and honored, right? Why you'll love them. I wrote down some notes here because otherwise I start getting nervous when I'm talking on a camera. I feel like I'm going to forget things. So you're going to love family meetings, or I love them because I think they can really revolutionize family dynamics. They are great for big families. They're also great for very small families. And I think they're good for all ages, as I said before, older or younger kids. My youngest was 2 when she started attending her first family meeting. It keeps the lines of communication open, and it creates a really connected, positive family culture. Again, because I think everybody feels like their opinions are valued. So I'll tell you sometimes that, well, actually, let me give you a couple of rules that I think make for a successful family meeting. I'll write an article on this in the next few days, but I don't think there need to be a lot of rules. I think that these are not formal events, but I do think having some boundaries and basic guidelines is really important for like speaking one at a time, listening, not interrupting, no electronics, honesty, whatever you feel like, depending on your kids' personalities and their ages, setting up some ground rules would be great. When I had a 2 and a 5-year-old, we had a talking stick that would be passed around. And we talked about how you have to, everybody shares a win and then they share a struggle or something that they want to work on. So that was how we did it at that age. It's, we're 11 years into this now, so it's changed a lot. Also, the second thing is like creating a method for making sure that everybody is heard for covering all the topics. So you might want to like go around, like I said, what we did, like, you can compliment each other and then raise an issue and then do problem solving. Like think of a system that's going to work really well for you. If you have somebody in your family that's a big talker and somebody that's not a big talker, you're going to want to set up some boundaries around that too. And then just keep it really short and focused. So in the article I write, I'll share more details, but when when my kids were younger, so when we first started this, I had read about it with child development being my background. I just read a lot, and also I'm an only child, and the idea of raising siblings was new to me. It felt like a science experiment, so I was always reading about raising siblings as well. And a family meeting was just one of those ideas that clicked. It made so much sense, and we implemented it pretty soon after I learned about it. And it worked really well. We were at this phase where the two kids were telling on each other all the time. It was the sort of thing where you're always getting interrupted with them telling on each other. And obviously there were issues maybe happening in the moment that had to be directed, but if it was this ongoing theme, we would say, I want you to save this for the family meeting. On Sunday night, we're going to talk about it. Now, we connected our family meetings with dessert night because back then I could control more of the food that was in our house, and dessert was a rarity. So we would have dessert on Sunday nights, and it was something that we all looked forward to. We came together as a family and we had our family meeting. We still have our family meetings on Sunday nights. It's still assumed that dessert is going to be part of it. These are just some of the habits that have carried with us. Also at that early age, we talked about the budget. I'm a big believer in having open communication about money and finances, and just helping kids start understanding for their own selves, like where that fits. And so, it wasn't in detail about our budget, but there were specific things like we want to spend a certain amount we want to do something special as a family every weekend. Would you prefer this or would you prefer this? And kind of helping them make these choices. A family meeting came into play with pandemic, and my husband had to close his practice for a couple of months, and we had a family meeting of like, okay, this is going to change our income substantially. Let's look at what this means and like what are pieces that are important, so that everybody kind of felt empowered in it. And we call ourselves a team, and we are all working together for the best outcome for everybody, right? So as a team, these are some of the huddles that we have weekly to be on the same page, to address things that come up. If somebody's having an issue, it gives somebody space to think about it. If they've got a couple of days to work through it, to bring to a meeting, rather than right in the minute. And a lot of times they can resolve those issues on their own too, if given a chance, right? So anyway, that's just been a fun thing, and I feel like it's even maybe more important right now as we're around each other a lot, but maybe not necessarily having meaningful connection, or there are so many things up in the world that you might want to just have a real candid conversation where everybody gives input and you make decisions about certain things. I think it helps create boundaries for the kids. It helps kids see how decisions are made. It helps them feel like a valued part of the family when they can be sharing ideas that are important to them. So it's been really useful for us. I would love if you guys have had family meetings or something like this, share what's worked for you. And if you haven't yet and you plan to, tell us. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, it's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. Hope you're enjoying yours.